Let's go, gang. How are we doing today on this beautiful Victory Monday? Let's go. Drop an SDS in the chat if you are vibing with me today. Let's go. Let's go. We see the squad. Let's freaking go, guys. What a beautiful Victory Monday it is. Absolutely beautiful Victory Monday today. The sun's shining, birds are chirping, not a hater in sight. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. And I'm glad to spend it today with you, the Sourdough Squad, the most legendary squad on YouTube. We're coming. We're coming for you. What's good, everybody? We got Facebook back. Oh, it's Liddy. We're excited. We're really excited. I hope you guys have had a fantastic day because I've had a lot of fun, man. Victory Mondays are always a ton of fun for me because you guys know I obviously run multiple different platforms and accounts. So it's an opportunity for me to just have some damn fun, post memes, post jokes, post it all. It's fantastic. So I'm very excited. I hope you guys are excited too. But let's talk about the game, right? We've talked about the game quite a bit, up until this point. But let's talk about it some more because that's why we're here. Zimmer's a whiner, 100%. I might have to find that video clip and pull it up, and we might have to laugh at it all together because it's pretty hilarious. And let's start with that. I'm gonna pull up the video. My guy Sam Hustis, who is the man behind KNBR, one of my boys. He is the one who does all the content for them. He pulled up this clip and he was able to mash it together with George Kittle responding to Zimmer. So let's go ahead and play it. Let's enjoy it together and laugh together, and we'll get started that way because it's fun. It's fun. I'm gonna get it up here. Let's look at it. Let's watch it. Let's laugh at it. Let me get my screen shared. Boom. Here we go. Here is Mike Zimmer talking about the 49ers. What do you got, Mike?
These guys hold all the time, so they're grabbing us around the waist, grabbing our backs, and officials they don't want to call it every play, but until they start calling every play, they're not going to stop doing it.
It's football, refs throw flags, refs don't throw flags. It's just a game, and if you're going to sit on the sideline and complain about holding the whole time, I tell you guys to make better plays.
We see you, Sam. I love it too with the OG glasses at the end. It's beautiful, but they're upset. The Vikings are upset that they lost to the 49ers because I don't know if you guys remember too. There was a couple sound bites that came out before the game talking about, we remember the playoff matchup. We remember when the 49ers just dismantled us. They only had to pass it 8 times. Like, come on. And then George Kittle drops the perfect response. Just tell your guys to play better then. Because if you want to be fair and be objective, Laken Tomlinson got called with 2 holding penalties that were egregious. Like, that's not holding. And so I think it's hilarious that a head coach, goes out of his way to have to communicate and talk about that. It's absolutely wild. But it's so it's so much fun to talk about because it's just like, man, that's a head coach. And he's crying about holding, he's whining about this, whining about that. And Kittle makes the excellent point. If you just executed better, then you wouldn't be in this situation. Holding isn't an end all be all. Like, and you're talking to a fan base that has to deal with what's his name? Oh, that's right. Nick Bosa getting held on literally probably 95% of the plays that he has. But I digress. I just thought that was absolutely hilarious We miss you too. I'm glad we got Facebook back, so we get guys like Jesse in here. Was having some weird connectivity issues with Facebook, but we're back. We're good. We got it all figured out. Good to see you all. And before we get started, and really dive into this conversation and get going on all the things we want to talk about, you know it's Cyber Monday, so you know your boy got some deals for the Sourdough Squad. So I'm going to talk about some of the deals that we got with Residency. This hat specifically, if you want the bay is fuego. It's that crispy white with the red logo. If you want this specific hat, we're doing a special deal for Cyber Monday. If you go to residency.com, use the promo code SFNiners in all caps. The name of the hat is the Bay. You get 35% off. Woo! 35% off this hat if you use that promo code. So this is a special little deal that we got with Residency for my followers, for you guys, for the Sourdough Squad. For this particular hat, you can get 35% off plus free shipping. And they got tons of other great deals across the site. I have the information and links in the bio. If you want any of the hats, as you see behind me, if you want any other Residency gear, you can still use this promo code as well as some additional promo codes for some discounts and free shipping. Oh yeah, let's go. And we got one more interesting thing before we get into this. We have officially partnered. Hey, you guys know how I love my food. We have officially partnered with a gummy worm brand company. Let's go. So we have actually partnered with this company called Worms. They've sent me a couple of these gummy worms. They're a little bit different, but they're fire. Absolutely fire. So if you want to get those, link, promo code, all that good stuff in the bio. You guys know what the deal is. It's Cyber Monday, so we got to get that stuff out there. All right. Let's talk. Let's talk football now. So, what was your guys's? I want to know the Sourdough Squad. What was your favorite moment and or play or individual performance from 49ers versus Vikings? I want to hear what you guys have to say, and then I want to see where we go from there. So what was your favorite moment, favorite play, something that stood out to you? And you know what? I'll start. I have been kind of quietly talking about Elijah Mitchell and how he's a good runner. But when we talk about vision and all those types of things in regards to running the football effectively in a zone scheme, I've always kind of talked about like Elijah Mitchell's good, but he's still got a step to go in regards to vision. I mean, he's productive. He's been productive as a rookie, but we still have seen there's room for more production. And what we saw, at least what I saw yesterday against the Vikings, is I saw an Elijah Mitchell whose vision was, I've never seen his vision like that. He has decent vision, but we've always talked about on this channel what it's like running behind an offensive line. It's not simple. It's not just always switch out whoever person you want. Oh, it doesn't matter if they've never run behind those guys. There is a continuity that running backs and offensive linemen have. They have to have a cohesive relationship. And I think what we saw against the Vikings with Elijah Mitchell was him finally feel comfortable and kind of understanding. He hit a couple mean cutbacks. I think Elijah Mitchell is finally taking that step. Now, he's still not there. He's still not 100% there, and he's still busting out 100+ yard rushing attacks, still getting up to speed. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's beautiful. So I'm very, very excited about Elijah Mitchell. So that's one of the things that I saw that was just like, oh, I was really happy about that. Sean wants to talk about Kyle Juszczyk's leap of faith. That was hilarious, bro. When Kyle Juszczyk tried to jump over about, what was it, like 5 people to try to get in the end zone from the 5-yard line. Um, it was it was hilarious. We had some we he was talking about it after the fact. He actually had a couple tweets about it. I'll pull it up, and I thought they were pretty funny, worth sharing. So let's take a look at our boy Juszczyk and how he responded to a lot of the Twitter information or commentary about his jump from the 5. Let's take a look. So right here, you have Kyle Juszczyk responding to a tweet. So essentially quote tweeting, saying, and the guy who's tweeting this is a fantasy football analyst. He's saying, believe in yourself like Kyle Juszczyk, believe he could leap over 4 defenders from the 5-yard line. And Kyle Juszczyk response was, the key is to believe. And here's a picture that my boy Christopher Mezzavilla sends me. He sends me pictures all throughout the game. This is one of them where you can see you got Juice trying to clear a bunch of people. And then, of course, I had to add the classic meme. Oh, you almost had it. You almost had it. But it was a lot of fun. Aziz was balling out. Aziz had a day. Aziz, I think we can talk about maybe up until this point. Are we talking about Aziz Al-Shaair as the best 49ers linebacker? I mean, if we're going to talk, we're going to silo this season, I think Aziz Al-Shaair has been the hand, like, it's not even honestly up for debate. The only reason why we're pausing a little bit is because it's Fred Warner. And just as of last year, he was finally recognized league-wide as being one of the best starters or best NFL linebackers. Like, it was all pro Fred. He had just reached the pinnacle. So part of it is like, okay, we're dealing with the evaluation of Fred kind of taking a dip down, but we're also dealing with the evaluation of Aziz Al-Shaair and how well he's playing. And we're trying to quantify it. We're trying to quantify, well, does Aziz look good because Fred doesn't look as good? And honestly, if you really take a look at it, we talked about this on this channel in the Detroit game when he went absolutely insane when Dre Greenlaw went out and Aziz was all over the place. We talked about at that point is that, like, we're gonna have this conversation later on down the road this year here with this Shire if he continues to play at this level, because he's sitting right next to Fred Warner, who we consider one of the best linebackers in the NFL. And I compared it to the situation when we had Patrick Willis, and Patrick Willis was hands down the best linebacker, at least in my opinion, at that time. Patrick Willis, I mean, I think you had Ray Lewis and you had a bunch of other guys that were, Kuechly was still playing. So you had a lot of good linebackers at that time, but I really felt Patrick Willis was in a league, was at that top tier of best linebacker in the NFL. Well, when we drafted Navarro Bowman and you put Navarro Bowman right next to the best linebacker in football, and then you start watching them play and you're like, they're actually kind of similar. They're actually playing at a pretty, like, Navarro Bowman's good in his own right. Navarro Bowman did these other things really well that, is maybe Patrick didn't do as well. And you're starting to look and you're like, hold on a second. All of a sudden, we're like, the 49ers have the best linebacking core in football. Patrick Willis, Navarro Bowman. Navarro Bowman was a 3rd-round pick. And after about a year or so, we were like, oh, yeah, we got the best linebacking core in the NFL. And so we talked about that in the Detroit game. And we talked about if Aziz Al-Shaair continues this play, his ramp up and the way we talk about him is going to completely change. And a big portion of that is going to have to do with Fred Warner and who's playing next to him, because Fred Warner reached the pinnacle. You ask any player across the league. Any coach, they're talking about Fred Warner as, you guys remember the clip from the Green Bay game in 2020 where Aaron Rodgers comes up to Fred Warner and goes, "Man, you're the best linebacker in football." Other people might whatever, they might not hype you like that, but you're the best linebacker in football. So when you know that and you see that, but then you see Aziz, and Aziz is playing at this level, you're like, I gotta scratch my beard. I'm like, I think Aziz is playing. I think Aziz is playing really good. Not only I think it's safe to say Aziz is playing better than Fred Warner this year, but we can't really compare Fred, right, and Aziz this year. So, do we compare them 2020 Fred to 2021 Aziz? I mean, they're playing pretty similar. They are playing pretty similar. So this Aziz Al-Shaair stuff, like Aziz, obviously got the pick here, played the hook defender and I think is basically like a standard cover 3. You even got Jake Paul wearing the Aziz Al-Shaair chain. Whoo! Big time. I think Aziz has arrived. I think Aziz has arrived, and I don't think he's going to give up that spot. And now the question that we're going to have to start talking about, right, is how much we're going to pay him. Are we going to pay him? We're going to let him hit the mark, the free, we're going to let him hit the open market. I hope not. I want to keep Aziz. I think Aziz has been phenomenal. He's one of those guys too who's made up of the right stuff. Again, I will implore any of you, if you want to learn a little bit more about the person that is underneath that helmet, go. I believe he did a story in college about how he was homeless, and his family was homeless for a big portion of his life, and how that just completely shaped him and molded him. And I think that's how he plays. He plays like he's from the gutter. Like that's how he plays. He plays like he's never had nothing before in his life. Nothing has ever been handed to Aziz. So Aziz has had to earn and fight and claw for it all. So I would love to see Aziz stick around. I think he's earned it 100%. I love Aziz. I'm so happy that he's balling like he is. He deserves all the praise in the world. All right. So we got Aziz Ayuk. I don't know if I posted the Ayuk slam yet. I don't think I did, but we got Ayuk doing the smeeze in victory formation. So obviously, one of the things that my account, got a lot of hype for was catching. So we were the first account or anyone really to notice Richie James doing backflips out of victory formation. So we got a lot of forward steam from that situation. So it's something that we pay attention to every time. It's like, and it's now kind of, I think, a tradition amongst these wide receivers who come out into the victory formation. Obviously, Richie James started with a backflip out of the victory formation, and now we got the boy Brandon Ayuk doing the smeeze out of the victory formation, representing for the Bay Area. You love to see it. But in regards to performance, in regards to overall performance for this man, this dude is phenomenal. I'm so happy for Brandon Ayuk. You can see the energy. I talk about this all the time too. I like to think that I am a body language expert when it comes to football. I really do. I really believe when it comes to football, guys in pads, because a lot of football, when you're on the field, a lot of what you do is nonverbal. A lot of what you're doing is you're communicating in a nonverbal fashion. For example, as like an offensive lineman, I had to be cognizant of how much weight I put on my hand depending on if it was a run play or a pass play. Because if I lean too far forward, my knuckles are white. D linemen are keying on, oh, he's probably coming off the ball hard and he's probably going to hit me hard, which means big percentage chance it's going to be a run. So that's what I talk about in regards to like the small nuance of nonverbal communication in regards to football. That's in every aspect of it. So we saw right off the bat that Ayuk was off. So Jesse says, Brad, so on the Ayuk situation earlier in the year, was Kyle right about Ayuk? I think it's multiple things. I think it's multiple things. I don't think it's ever just one situation. I think it's multiple things. I think it was a combination of Brandon Ayuk not responding to Kyle. I think Kyle goes about his coaching in I think a very specific way. I see Coach in here. Coach and I have talked about it at length about the kind of old school mentality that he has and why we like it could not be the best for younger players in regards to the my way or the highway type of approach. So I think it was both. I think Coach challenged Ayuk, but I don't think it meshed well. I don't think Ayuk received it as a challenge, more of a demotion, which then dropped his confidence. So that's been a big part of the conversation. But I absolutely think it's both of them. I think it was probably the way Kyle challenged Brandon. Brandon retreated, then Coach yelled more at Brandon. Brandon retreated more. And they had to have a sit down conversation with John Lynch to get everything out on the table to then be like, all right, we have a clear understanding of what is expected from both sides. So I think it's both. But in regards to the struggle, yeah, Ayuk was struggling on the field. That was true. But as a coach, I would have to believe you have to take some responsibility for that. Ayuk reminds you of Brandon Lloyd. That's actually not bad. Brandon Lloyd was kind of lanky a little bit, but also though with Brandon Ayuk, he was playing phenomenal yesterday. And again, back to kind of what I was talking about, the 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 way again, the whole point of what I started to talk about was body language, the energy, the energy that Brandon Ayuk, this guy who's dancing on the screen right now, the energy that this guy showed yesterday should make you very happy. Should make you very happy as a 49er fan. Hell, if you aren't even a 49er fan, if you got a fantasy hat on, you just play fantasy, you're watching the channel because you're trying to get some scoop on some of the 49ers players and skill players, this guy's for real. If you can go out and buy this guy, go out and buy him. If you own him, shout out to you for holding because this dude is going to be like one of those like cryptocurrencies. This dude's to the moon. So I'm really excited. And a big part of what we consider someone who's ready to go to the moon, it's essentially trending upward, energy, vibe, how you carry yourself, how you operate on the field. Again, if you're moping around and you're not running your routes and you're like, that's you're telling your coach you ain't about it. That's what you tell your coach when you don't show effort. So the fact that he's showing effort, energy, the vibe is back, guys. Brandon Ayuk is just getting started, and Jimmy's starting to target him, and they're starting to drop a little bit more easier plays to get him involved on. Obviously, with Ayuk, he's operating as your alpha. He's operating as your number one. So he's expected to go up against the team's best corners, and he's expected to run kind of longer developing routes. And we understand that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't necessarily like look at those all the time. So I think they're doing a better job of getting him involved on slants, finding good ways to get him in there. Just like Joshua says, the BA hive is buzzing. So I'm super, super hyped about that. I think Brandon Ayuk is just about to take off. I think he's there. I think we made it over the hump. We made it over like, oh my God, are we going to trade Brandon Ayuk because him and his coach are at odds? This is our first round pick. This is the guy that we traded DeForest Buckner for. And we got Kinlaw. He's on IR. Now we got this guy. He's not performing. Everyone started to lose their minds. But guess what? He's back. He is absolutely back. And he should be trending upwards. So I'm really, really excited about that. Who else you guys want to talk about? I'm going to let you guys drive the show today. So I'm going to look back up and try to see. We talked about Azeez Al-Shaair. We've talked about Brandon Ayuk. Who else do we want to talk about? Ooh, we want to talk about All-Pro Debo. So All-Pro Debo had a little groin injury. I went and heard him talk about it. Essentially, all he's feeling was in that run. I don't think I have it loaded. But on that run that he kind of hit the turf, he basically said he felt something start to act up. And right when he felt something act up, he said, I'm not even gonna try it, and just hit the dirt. One, great awareness. I kind of like that. I think one of the things that we've talked about with Deebo Samuel is like, this dude's a battering ram. He's gonna just run through you. He doesn't know how to protect himself. He's like they've dubbed him the nickname Mini Marshawn for a reason. He runs through your face. So on the flip side, yeah, it sucks that he might have tweaked something in his groin, but on the flip side of that, it's like he protected himself. He didn't push through it. He felt it and just went down. And so I kind of like that. And everything that we've heard from him, we heard it from Rap Sheet this morning. Shout out Rap Sheet. Is that Debo? It doesn't seem to be serious. He could miss a game or two, but we can deal with that. We can deal with Debo missing a game. We can. Guys, don't forget, we have George Kittle. We have Brandon Ayuk. Trent Sherfield's just been waiting in the wings. Trent Sherfield season's upon us. Juwan Jennings season is upon us. So with Deebo Samuel, I'm just thrilled about the injury. I'm thrilled about the wherewithal that he had to kind of go about it. I love the way he quantified it and talked about it. It makes me feel confident for him. It makes me feel confident that he has the ability and the wherewithal and the awareness to understand I'm no good to no one if I'm not on the field. I have to be on the field for me to do anything. And so I don't mind it at all. And what, again, body language, what he was all where I'm going to pull up my boy, Alex Tran. I know Alex had it. My boy Alex runs Niner Nation on Instagram, where I think he had it. Yeah. So like, you just got Debo. He's all right, man. He's hurt. Like, he pulled his groin or whatever. He's out here trying to get Elijah Mitchell some water. He's trying to cool him off. Look at that. Ooh, he's too hot. He's way too hot. Woo, cool that boy down. Let's go. So again, we haven't even talked about Debo's production. And then on the flip side of, the body language and all of this is the production, and he continues to produce. Now he's more playing a hybrid kind of, God, he feels like a running back now, which is crazy. He definitely feels like a running back now, but I know it's definitely a hybrid role. And how Kyle's imploring him is so genius. It's been a lot of fun to watch, but still, Deebo Samuel came out, did all his damage essentially on the ground. He had 6 rushes for 66 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground, as well as adding 1 catch for 12 yards, and then finally breaking the 1,000-yard mark, last set by a Niner receiver, a guy named Anquan Bolden. I think you guys know who that is. I think you guys remember good old Anquan. Love that guy. You want to know why Anquan Bolden was one of my favorite players since he was a rookie with the Arizona Cardinals? It's because that Mama Jamma came out and broke a lot of Jerry Rice's rookie receiving records that he had set. And I just remember going and watching Anquan Bolden's rookie year and just being like, this dude's a freak. Like, I love Anquan Bolden. I loved him when he was on the opposing side. So they are kind of oddly similar. Deebo Samuel has a completely different gear and physicality. They're both physical wide receivers. I would just say Deebo has a different gear than Bolden. That's about it. I think they play similarly, similar mindset, mentality. Guys that are going to come down with the ball and fight for everything they have. So until Bolden showed up, it was George Kittle. We were depending on George Kittle for our 1,000-yard receiving seasons. We were depending on our tight end to get that to happen, because guess what? Marquise Goodwin wasn't going to do that for us. Hell, Kendrick Bourne maybe could have done that for us if he had wasn't getting majority of the balls thrown to him by Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. But now we have a guy. We have a guy, and on top of that, I think the best part of it is we have a guy, but we also have a guy on the opposite side in Brandon Ayuk, who is just like, I think it clicked. Like, and the fact that it's kind of clicking at both times. Okay, Deebo might have gotten hurt, tweaked his groin a little bit. If that means he's got to take a game or two off, I'm actually okay with that. I want to see how Kyle scripts and game plans with only Ayuk. I want to see what that looks like. So I'm okay. Absolutely. Shout out KB, man. Shout out KB. KB balling, bro. And I'm gonna go ahead and pat myself on the back and say I saw that coming. It's funny because when they cut Cam Newton, obviously, guys, I'm big into fantasy, big into dynasty fantasy football. When they cut Cam, I was like, oh, Debo's going to be, I was like, Bourne is going to be one of Mac Jones's favorite targets. I can just feel it in my bones. So I immediately went out, traded a future 3rd-round pick for Kendrick Bourne. And now we're thriving together. We're thriving because if you go back and you look at Mac Jones, and, I studied Mac Jones quite a bit. You see how he targeted Devontae Smith. Now, it's funny because Devontae Smith, my comp for him was like he was like the juiced up Kendrick Bourne, is like how I talked about Devontae Smith. Like those two reminded me a lot of each other. Devontae Smith at Alabama and Kendrick Bourne when he was with us. I comped them to each other again I had to preface that Devontae was a little bit better of an athlete at the time, but I really felt like Kendrick Bourne and Mac Jones, Kendrick Bourne would fill the Devontae Smith role. What happened to Devontae Smith at Alabama? He won the Heisman. That's right. So I'm happy for Bourne. My fantasy team is thrilled. So I'm very happy. We could talk about Brunskill. Oh, wait, that's Juwan. That's not. We'll talk about Juwan too. Jesus says, so we not talking about Brunskill's huge run and block for Deebo? Do I have that? I don't know if I posted that one. Maybe my boy Alex. Yeah, here it is. I think Alex posted it. So shout out my boy Alex Tran from Niners Nation. Yep. There's Brunny. There's Brunny. Look at Brunny go. Look at Brunny go. I would have loved to see Deebo. I know there's a guy coming right here, but just imagine a hard cut that way. Hard cut that way. This dude's momentum's moving forward. You get Brunskill to block that guy. You might make a house call if you make a sharp cut left. But I digress. Still liked it. Still good. And of course, we love Brunskill out there leading the pack. I'm excited for Brunskill, man. I think, in my opinion, he's gonna get the bag. He's not gonna get like a huge, crazy deal, but I think he's played well enough that he'll get paid somewhere else. I think I skipped a super chat. I did. Kiefer Smith, appreciate the super chat, my guy. Sorry for getting to it so late. I agree. I 100% agree on this. Kyle Shanahan, a guy who found his way in the midst of 49ers fans' crosshairs. He has been in his bag lately. He really, really has. I think Kyle Shanahan has been phenomenal these last couple weeks. Talking about, and we're gonna throw in Mike McDaniel in there too, because for whatever reason, I know the reason. A lot of people wanted to fire those two, Kyle Shanahan. People don't like the way Mike McDaniel speaks at the podium, so they wanted to fire him for that. But in reality, those two guys together, I don't think people recognize. I really don't think people recognize what they're doing right now. They're doing something from a schematic standpoint that I've personally never seen. And you guys can tell me too if you've ever seen it either. Just think of the concept of what they are doing. They are taking zone run concepts. Their zone run team, much different than power run. Again, to try to like bring it down to very short terms, zone, the whole moves. It is based on flow. It's based on feel. It could be to the left. It could be a cutback all the way to the right. The whole is constantly in movement. That's why you have to have good vision. You have to have good burst and all those different types of things. All the cutting ability. That's why power runners aren't good zone runners and vice versa. But in power, you're running to a spot. There's a spot. See that A gap? We're running there. There's no cut. There's like no cutbacks or like flow, like bounce it up. Like they're trying to hit a spot. That's how the power run works. Typically in power run, you have pullers. You're running a lot of traps. You're running counters. That is typically done with guards, centers, and tackles when you're pulling guys. These guys, again, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, these guys are doing something I've never seen before. They're running O-line blocking concepts with skill positions on nearly every play. The double to backer concept, this is my favorite concept as an offensive lineman myself. We're doing it with running backs and wide receivers on the edge to defensive ends. Like, they're doing things right now that I've never seen. And they've figured it out. They figured it out that, listen, guys, if we run and try to run powers and run right up the middle behind Daniel Brunskill or Laken Tomlinson, it's a lot harder to do that. It's harder to dig guys out. But you know what else is a little easier is if you get everyone moving and you get everyone flowing a direction, and then you start countering off the direction you get them to flow. So that's what they're doing. Like, for example, the offensive linemen up front, they're running zone left. So all their footwork and technique is moving them to the left. Yet they're bringing a puller from the left going to the right, and he turns into the lead blocker. They like pull a guard around, and then I think that Deebo Samuel play was beautiful and is all part of that. So the whole notion of Kyle Shanahan should be fired, Mike McDaniel should be fired. We all understand. Anyone who held that opinion, it was an emotional response, and we forgive you for it. We absolutely forgive you for it, and we understand, because when the team sucks, people want to know why, and they want to hold people accountable. So we'll give you a pass. We'll give you a pass. But these guys, Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniel, they're 100% in their bags. I'm telling you guys. And they're finally getting to the point where they're able to execute. And I don't know if you can get a sense of that from this particular play right here. Sorry, it's not. Which one is this? I'm still going through the all 22, so I don't have it quite yet squared up, but you guys know the vibes. We're going to do our film session, so I'm not even going to waste my time. We're going to talk about it even more at that point. But Kyle Shanahan, Mike McDaniels, they deserve your respect. They deserve your respect. And Jesse, I'll say this about those fans. I will. Most fans are very emotional when it comes to the teams they love, the players they like. They're just emotional. They're emotionally attached. They don't typically break down film. Hell, I've been running an account for 3 years. I've never broken down tape like this at this level. So I'm seeing things that I've never seen before. So again, that's why I think it's important to ingest the right content. Find the guys. It doesn't even have to be me. Find whoever you trust and put your eggs into those baskets. Like, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to take advantage of your emotional ties to this team. So just be cautious of that. Just be cautious when this team's not doing well. Oh, they're coming. They're I don't want to say praying, but it's like they understand. They're feeding the emotion. Emotion is easy to feed. Emotion trumps logic for a lot of people. So you can see that tidal wave occur. So again, like I said, I think that's part of it, is that you just have a big portion of the fan base who's being fed the emotional narrative, and so they act that way. So I can't be super mad at them. I can't. I really can't. So I get it. Trust me, my Instagram page for 2 months was that fire Shanahan nonstop. And I got people yelling at me. I got people like coming at my neck because I didn't say fire Kyle Shanahan. I had people saying they're going to unfollow me. I had people calling me an idiot. I had people saying I'm stupid. I don't know what I'm talking about, because I would refuse to say that Kyle Shanahan deserves to be fired. And that's not their fault necessarily. Like, whatever. People want to, puff up their chest and make their opinion known, whatever. That's what our platform is. You want to make your opinion known, go to this page, go to my Instagram, come up here, smash the follow button, and comment whatever the hell you want on any one of my pages, like, or posts. I don't care. But we go through our content, we go through our information a very specific way, and it's for a reason, for these types of reasons, because we've been here before, we've done this before, we've been through Jim Harbaugh, we've been through Jim Tomsula, we've been through Chip Kelly, we've been through that. Firing someone is not an answer; it's an emotional response. So, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And that's my rant on that. Shout out Cash the God for the SDS love. We see you, my guy. Appreciate you all day. Appreciate you, Cash, my guy. But anyways, I digress. What else do we want to talk about? Again, you guys are driving the show today. It's a Victory Monday. So you guys are driving the show. You tell me what we want to talk about, and we'll go full speed ahead. So drop it in the chat, what you want. Reiko says, I was one of the Fire Shanahan people, but talking a mess about someone because of their opinion. Yeah, I get it. Like, trust me, I have opinions too, and people tell me they're dumb and they're wrong all the time. Trust me. But it is what it is. We've been here before. This ain't our first rodeo. We've been doing content on these streets for years. Literally everything imaginable has been said to me, so I'm not losing sleep over nothing. Nothing. Oh, here we go. That's a good one. Let's talk about Jawan, man. I got one. I'll pull it up right now. Let me get it pulled up. Hold on one sec. We got an actual clip to break down. Let's break down the film. We got a Jawan. I think pretty sure this is Jawan. I might be wrong. Let's double check first before I pull it up here. But yeah, let me double check. Is that Jawan? It is. I love this by Jawan. I'll bring you guys in here with me. I love this by Jawan. Jawan was in his bag. Jawan had a coming. I would say Jawan Jennings had a coming out party in some sense. Like he was about like 3 inches and half a kneecap away from having 2 touchdowns. He almost had a day. But here we go. This was the first catch. This was the first catch that Jawan Jennings had of the game. A lot of stuff around him when he caught it. We got Jawan Jennings over here, flanked on the outside. You got Debo Samuel kind of leading off the little trips bunch formation. You got Kittle to the left side. You got Ayuk and Juice out in an empty set. You can see you got both the linebackers playing up to the line of scrimmage. Guess what they're doing? They're baiting Jimmy Garoppolo because they know where Jimmy Garoppolo wants to go. He wants to go to the middle. Again, so see this concept right here? This is what I'm liking about the scheme and how they're, because again, if we go back to like the Green Bay game and we saw Jimmy Garoppolo consistently throwing into stuff like this, we were very concerned about it. We were like, what is going on? Like Jimmy was throwing into holes with 2 underneath defenders, bracketed safeties over the top, and it was like, oh God, what are we doing? But I think again, play calling, McDaniels, Kyle Shanahan, understanding what the defense is going to do to them, and they have this ability to work off of it. And let me show you how they worked off of this. So right away, they're alerting to Debo Samuel as the primary. Look at they are single high. So safety is up playing man. It looks like a man coverage, right? Are we running man? We're kind of running man with zone in the basically zone from our linebackers. So again, this is basically 2 zone, single high, and they're clamping this. So that means this safety is paying attention to here, which means Jawan Jennings is going to come open. And Jimmy, if he delivers it, boom, has a shot. This was a great pass by Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, it was amidst a lot of ugly passes on that first drive. But things like this, again, understanding the coverage, understanding that they're trying to take away both your underneath kind of crossing wide receivers. You understand that the single high is going to sit on IU. I think that's Debo. They're going to sit on Debo. And that little bit right here to pull the safety, that step is enough to get the ball on Jawan. You see how close that is? You see how close that is? This step is all the difference. And that is caused by this, basically them trying to take away something and them having a counter off of it. I liked it. And again, we're talking about a lot of different things here, but also you have to give a ton of credit to Jawan Jennings and snagging this ball. This was a contested catch in every sense of the word. Watch it again. Let's see if we get a better view. So this is like this guy, guys, him right there, Jawan, can see this. Like he can see out of his peripheral vision that he knows the safety's playing single high. He know that the safety's probably going to sit on Debo. So he understands that, but once Jimmy throws the ball, he understands that the safety's coming right at him. Um, and so again, the ability to go up, not get phased, make a contested catch like right over this dude's head, like not being phased by the safety creating contact. Um, I think Juwan Jennings coming into his own a little bit here. Obviously, Juwan made a couple other plays, almost had 2 touchdowns, like we talked about. But this is one that I have ready and available. We're gonna do the full film breakdown tomorrow of the offense. Just a little sneak peek right there. Just a little sneak peek, just a little taste, because it's gonna be fun. I'm still working through the tape. I don't have it all done. But I'm really excited to get into this further. Um, what is Coach saying? Coach says, "Hey Brad, let's talk about Kyle toning down his ego by letting his offense find an identity. One thing I've noticed during the 3-game streak, more of the players executing, less of Kyle dialing it up." I agree. I agree. We can talk about that. Um, I think a big part of what the 49ers have been doing since the Chicago game is the identity part of it. Who are they? What do they do good? What what vibe are they? Like what do again, so you hear this all the time in sports. You hear this constantly. Especially I think most prevalently football, it feels like, but players tend to take on the personality of their head coach. And I would say Kyle Shanahan's personality, what we saw from him this offseason, how he handled the media, how this offseason got to Kyle. All right. And rightfully so. And we've talked about it at length. It got to the team, it got to the locker room. The Jimmy Garoppolo situation, Trey Lance situation. Like, I think Kyle was in a bad spot. And I think the team reflected that. I think they kind of were hand in hand in that regard. Um, but again, since everyone's back was against the wall, because it's not just Jimmy. Like Kyle's back's been against the wall. Now he's not going to get fired, but his back can still be against the wall. Um, Against that game in Chicago, that one play that they had where the entire offensive line was like pushing them in, and the way they fought and all those different things coming from behind, I felt like that was an opportunity for them to just be like, guys, again, nothing matters, because if we continue to lose, all of us are going to lose our jobs. Like we understand how football works. It's a what have you done for me lately business. And what had the 49ers done lately? 2020 was a wash, and we know what happened. They were a couple seconds away from winning the Super Bowl. So I think with Kyle, I think done a little bit of soul searching. I don't think there's any coincidence that kind of him finding his identity, like Coach talked about, kind of letting the ego down, also coincides with guess whose performance? Brandon Ayuk. So I don't think that's a coincidence. I really don't. I think the fact that John, Kyle, Brandon Ayuk, again, they were at a difference of understanding. Kyle handles his emotions and handles what he wants a certain way. Not everyone responds to that. Brandon Ayuk, for example, they had to have a medium come in and let them get everything out, and they had uh, for a lack of a better term, a come to Jesus moment where they're like, we're we're going down a bad path here, to the point where we're all going to get in trouble if we don't pick it up. And I really believe that I think that woke something up in Kyle, and Kyle has started to change a little bit in the sense of kind of what Coach is talking about. Um, with the identity, executing versus dialing up. I think that Ayuk situation kind of was the iceberg of like, all right, they've clearly figured something out in that situation, and I think that is a continual trickle down effect for Kyle. I do. I think the Ayuk thing will that Ayuk conversation. God, I would love to be a fly on the wall. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we live streamed the Brandon Ayuk and Kyle Shanahan meeting? Oh my gosh. That would be pay-per-view must see TV. All right, what is Ty or Triel White? Triel? Am I completely demolishing your name? Trial. 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 Either way, it's kind of a sick name. He says, I get it. Sometimes us as fans think we know more than coaches and GM, heck, even Jed, but we got to trust the process like the players. Keep it rolling. 100%. 100%. And I also believe, too, something to think about is I really feel like the guys who've played the game or have some type of experience around actually playing football, they kind of have this mentality of trust the process of like, they're understanding that football is an insanely complex sport and that there are so many layers to it. How coaches execute and prepare, how players execute and prepare, how those two things co-align, how coaches within the coaching departments execute and prepare, how they get their like there's so much. There's so much that goes into there's so much that goes into it. So that's why it's never a simple answer. That's why whenever someone feeds you like a very simple answer, like on a plate, like this is what's wrong. I mean, sometimes it is simple, but a lot of the times it's not. A lot of the times it's really complex. Um, so I agree. I think part of it is just kind of like sitting back and being like, man, what's going on here? Because I'm not going to, I was critical. I had questions. I was confused. I didn't understand why this season was going the way it was. Um, so yeah, I agree, man. I agree. Coach, how do I say it? Try it. Me and words aren't friends, so let's get that straight. My mind plays tricks on me all the time, so I have to question myself. But yeah, I probably butchered that name. Coach says Kyle and Ayuk helped each other as a coach. The good ones end up teaching you how to calibrate 100%. And they, in turn, get the best out of themselves by trusting to push them. Football is beautiful. I agree. And that's why I always wanted to be a coach, because coaching is about give and take. It's not just about taking or just giving. You have to have a cohesive back and forth. You have to learn yourself. Like coaches, like a coach going through a season saying, "Oh, I've got it all figured out." Like everyone's learning. Every situation is unique in of itself, and you have to treat it like that. And if you don't, and you treat every situation like it's the same, your responses aren't going to be great. They're going to be all over the board. So, to what coach is saying, there's got to be that back and forth. There has to be a willingness to understand that, hey, maybe I don't have all the answers. Maybe I can learn something from my players, and then I can impart more wisdom onto them. It's got to go back and forth. It really does have to go back and forth. So I agree. I think this is a crazy season. This season has been insane. The season has been absolutely insane across the league. Like there are a lot of teams. Like look at Carolina Panthers. Look at what other teams are going. Like the Chicago Bears. Like look at the Seahawks. Like man, there are some teams out. The Falcons. Like there's some teams that are just crumbling at the seams. even some good teams. The LA Rams are on a 3-game losing streak. The LA Rams are on a 3-game losing streak ever since getting smacked up by the 49ers at Levi's Stadium. Broncos, yeah, Broncos is another one. There's so much parity across the league. That's why we were trying really hard to be patient. They were trying very, very hard to be patient when we lost against the Cardinals with Trey Lance, and then we lost against the Colts. We were trying to be very patient. We were trying to be very, very patient because we knew it was way too premature to hit the ejecto button and be like, the season's over. It felt over, but mathematically it wasn't. There was still so much damn season left. And I always this is how I try to keep myself like on point with like the flow of a season, because we always say it's a marathon, not a sprint, and people look at like the first couple weeks as like a sprint. Like the perception of what happens in those first couple weeks sticks with fans throughout the entire year. So if you had a really good week 1 or week 2, that's going to stay in people's minds. If you had a really bad week 1 or week 2, it's going to stay in people's minds. So I always try to remind myself that the first 4 weeks of the NFL regular season, in my opinion, is just like the preseason. Like it's a legit preseason for the starters. Starters in preseason, I mean, there's something to gain, but it's not the same as going out and playing a 60-minute game. Um, with the same core, with the same group, executing a real game plan. The first 4 weeks to me of the NFL year is a legitimate preseason for everyone, even though they're real games that count. In regards to evaluation, in regards to trying to quantify who everyone is, you just have to look at that first quarter of the year as like a abbreviated preseason. At least that's what I try to, because once teams get through that, you start to see which teams gel and you start to see which teams fall apart. We've seen the Atlanta Falcons go 5-0 and then lose every single game after that. So that's just how I look at it. So that's what I try to help keep me sane through the period of where it was not looking great. Um, but that's why we're alive and we're well and we're sitting, I think, at the 6th spot in the playoff hunt. So hell, I'm super excited about it. Super excited about it. Trial. I'm just gonna call you Trial. Trial says football is like life. Anyone want to argue about it? Come on. You got to have trust, understanding, caring, accountability, honesty, and everything. And that's why, too, that I always talk about the human element of football. People sometimes, we're not talking about the sourdough squad. We're not talking about the sourdough squad. Sourdough squad is woke. They're football woke. You know what I'm saying? Like they know what goes on. They know it's complex. They know there's a lot of stuff at play. And I always try to bring it back to the human element of football, is because that's why you have leaders. That's why you have these guys in locker rooms and these coaches and these figureheads to do these certain things, because you just need that. You need that human element to be able to kind of rally the troops in a sense and just get everyone going in the right direction. And all the things that you listed, Trial, are exactly everything that you need to be successful as a team. Again, you talk about execution, you talk about having talent, you talk about having awesome coaching and play design. But at the end of the day, if you don't have trust, understanding, caring, accountability, and honesty, or at least a strong core of what that is, you're going to have a team like the super Eagles when they assembled the super team and it did nothing because they had no continuity. The human element wasn't there. um and again, it renders talent useless if you don't have the human element. And again, why I like the Warriors so much, I mean, I am a Bay Area guy. I've always been a Warriors fan, but why I love their team so much is that it is like they really hit home on character and they really prop character up, because they understand people with good character can typically help push forward towards the W. What's good, Luke? My boy. How we doing, my boy? All right. So we're about an hour in. Yes, sir. We've been doing good today. I like Victory Mondays. We had about 200 people in here for the majority of the time. You guys want to go ahead and hit that like button, smash the like, hit the subscribe. Guess what? You're in the Sourdough Squad. That's it. It's real simple. And then you just hashtag Sourdough Squad, SDS, throw out bread emojis, and we're ganged up. That's how you get jumped in. Just like the post, subscribe, and you drop the SDS in the chat. Oh yeah. Sourdough Squad vibes. All right. What else do we want to talk about? We're about an hour in. What does Coach got for me? Okay, Brad. So depending on how things shake out, it's looking like 10 wins will get us in the playoffs, which puts us 4 games away from that mark. Who are the 4 wins the Niners can get moving forward? Ooh, good. Look at Coach. We're gonna have to have Coach come produce these shows here pretty soon, because that's a great question. That was a phenomenal question. Just looking at the schedule, I would say let's go in order. The 49ers are traveling to Seattle Seahawks this week. So Seattle Seahawks, they are headed up north. We know that Seattle has kind of had the 49ers number for some time. They beat us this year at home with a really bad team. But at the end of the day, they're a bad team. They're a bad team. So I'm if I have to use my logical brain, I would say on paper and in everything I've seen, the 49ers should win against Seattle, but we understand it's Seattle. So we understand it's Seattle. For whatever reason, just like when we play the Rams, you never know. You never know. So we should be able to beat Seattle, but you never know. With the Bengals, I think the Bengals match up well against us. However, they're a young team, young quarterback, young wide receivers. I mean, Joe Mixon is an absolute stud. But if they can limit Joe Mixon from running the ball a million times, um, the Bengals want to beat. The Bengals are kind of like the 49ers in that sense of how they want to win games. So I think the 49ers can beat the Bengals. I think they can, but it's at Cincinnati in the 10 a.m. window. Back-to-back road games coming off Seattle, going to the Bengals. Could be a trap game. So, again, we have to take into all the accounts and the factors. But then the 49ers have the Falcons on December 19th at home. That should be a W. They're going to then fly to Tennessee for a Thursday night football game. So away and a short turn. Perfect trap game. Then you got the Texans. That should be a W. So, I mean, I see at least 2 that should be just straight up W's. Texans, Falcons. No, it should be no question. Should be no question. In that tier right below it, they should beat them are Seattle and the Rams. I think the 49ers will beat Falcons, Texans, should beat Seattle, Rams, Bengals, Titans, throw up. It's a toss up. Both trap games, both away, weird start time. Like, so that's kind of how I look at it. If they can win those 4 out of 6, I think they would be. I agree. I think it's gettable. But again, short week traveling to Tennessee on Thursday night football. Again, we don't know. Those are the outliers. You know, we just don't know. We don't know how they're going to perform. We don't. So we'll see. But I agree. They without, Derrick Henry, what are they? Not much. Julio Jones, I believe, is on IR. I think what's his name? AJ Brown, I believe, is injured as well. So yeah, they're hurting. They're hurting. So I will say this. I think all 6 games are winnable. I think all remaining 6 games on the schedule are winnable. It's just who shows up and who performs and who executes at that point. So, good question, though. Great question. Got me thinking about all different kinds of things. AJ Brown is on IR. Gotcha. We did get a little bit of injury news today. Debo, I still don't think I've seen a report of the official MRI. However, they don't believe it is serious. And they think it's yeah, they don't think it's a big deal. So however, though, they do think he could miss a game or two. They do think he could miss a game or two. 100%. So again, with Debo, he's got a tweaked groin. They don't believe it's a tear, which is good. He still could miss a game or two. Like we might not have Debo for the Seattle game, but what we're hearing is that it's not a long-term injury. It's not like he's done for the year or anything like that. So that's a positive. But we'll see. So we'll see. I haven't seen anything come out. I've been trying to look for it. Oh, former 49ers legend, D Virgin. Worked out with Miami. Nice. I don't know if you guys remember D Virgin. We signed him for a little bit. What I do like is in all these rankings, I see Peter King's top 10. 49ers are nowhere to be found. I like it. I like that the 49ers are sleep. I like that we're getting slept on. I really do. I think it's perfect for the guys in the locker room. They feed off it. They like being counted out. So I'm excited about that. Really, really. That's dope. Yeah, so Debo does he throws the ball around and will find fans and toss the ball over. That's dope. Hopefully you got that on video. That's sick. So yeah, we were kind of waiting for that. Debo said it wasn't a big deal right after the game. Which again, we don't really know until what the MRI tells us. But like I said, the MRI, there's no news about the MRI. So I guess no news at this point is good news. So that's okay. That is okay. So if Debo is out against Seattle, but back against the Bengals, I think we can live with that. I think we can. So I think we'll be all right. And how about I take this time again? I did it a little bit earlier. We'll do it again. You know the vibes. It's Cyber Monday, so I'm going to do it a little bit more than normal. But we do. If you guys are interested in the residency hats, we do have a special promo code on this specific hat. It's called the Bay. If you use the promo code SFNiners, all caps, you get 35% off this hat as well as free shipping. If you want any of these hats down over here, they got a whole bunch of them. You could use this promo code as well to get discounts off any of the other hats. This specific one is a Cyber Monday deal where you get 35% off. So pretty damn good deal on this thing. And you can find links and you can find more information about it in the description. Had to get that one out there for the squad. And of course, anytime you use the promo code, helps us keep it moving along and bring in all of this content to you guys. So we appreciate it every time you do help support both residency and yes, the SF9ers. We appreciate you guys. Sourdough Squad, we see you. We absolutely see you. I think that's good today. I think that's good today. Today was fun episode. I had fun. Today was fun. It's always fun when the chat is vibing. The chat was phenomenal today. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your energy that you brought today. Again, you guys drove today's episode. And that's fun. I like doing that kind of stuff. I like you guys bringing up topics and we just kind of talk about it. So, like East, we rise. The Sourdough Squad is undefeated. We appreciate you guys so freaking much. You guys are phenomenal. And what Jesus is excited for tomorrow is we are going to do our offensive film breakdown. We get long with it. We're long-winded. We break down like steps, like and hand placement, and like we're not just showing plays and we're not just like talking about like, ooh, look at this cool play. Like we're talking about the backside of a big play that doesn't really like we get nitty-gritty with it. So if you guys do want to participate with that, we'll be back tomorrow, likely around 1:30. So we got that going. Yes, the chat is always vibing on Victory Mondays, and you absolutely love to see it. What's up, Don? Hopefully you get a dub one of these days, my guy. Hopefully you get a dub one of these days. I am pulling for the Lions. I hope they get a win. I really hope they don't go winless. That would be awful. I really hope they can pull out a dub. Let's go, Luke. Mic'd up, camera up. Let's go. Computer next. Oh, Luke Luna. The 49ers podcast are coming. Ooh, let's go. Love to see it. Love to see it. Let's go. We see the squad. So today was fun. Today was fun. Today was good times, good vibes. Always good vibes, especially great vibes after 3-0 after a terrible start. Let's call a spade a spade. It's a terrible start for the 49ers. Not what we wanted, not what we anticipated. And we've weathered the storm. And so now the storm is starting to pass. The clouds are starting to clear. The thunderstorms are starting to kind of subside a little bit. And is that the playoffs over there? Is that the playoffs? Playoffs. Yeah. Playoffs. We're talking about the playoffs. And if we're getting the playoffs, we need more games like the games yesterday. Again, one of the things that I really liked about the game yesterday is that it wasn't pretty, is that it was kind of ugly. And it started out ugly. It started out with the bad pick from Jimmy. Jimmy sailing balls, not good. Started out not great, right? But they battled back. That adversity didn't make them crumble. They didn't wither away. They didn't say, oh, here we go again. They just kept fighting, including Jimmy Garoppolo. The way he came back and battled back into that game, tipped the cap to Jimmy. Again, it's hard. It's hard to bounce back from self-inflicted adversity that not only you cause yourself, but you cause all the guys around you that you call your brothers. That's hard. That's hard. And when you got an entire stadium on your neck, you know they want your neck. Like that's hard. All right. So we're gonna give credit to Jimmy for being able to bounce back, get this team back on track, and get this win because the 49ers needed it. They needed this win against someone that they're battling with playoff seeding for. They needed it. And we needed that type of gritty performance from Jimmy Garoppolo and the rest of the team. We really, really needed that. So if we can continue to keep moving forward that way, then I'll be really, really excited. Because we understand Jimmy Garoppolo is not perfect. Jimmy Garoppolo will make a mistake. He will turn the ball over. What we need from Jimmy Garoppolo is we need that ability to bounce back, which he showed and which we tip our cap to, because we understand football is an imperfect game of twists, turns, errors that you've created, errors that are pushed upon yourself. We understand no calls, bad calls. We get it, right? It's not a perfect game. So you have to be able to fight through that. And that's what Jimmy Garoppolo did. And if we can continue to, and again, Jimmy can get better from that. He can have better performances. But what we want from Jimmy Garoppolo is we want Jimmy Garoppolo to stay contained and be able to work through adversity. So very, very happy with that. Very happy with that. 100%. So wanted to end with that. Wanted to, again, tip the cap to Jimmy for being able to fight through that adversity, which again, he created. He created it. But half the battle is being able to bounce back. So we appreciate it. And if we can get that type of performance, or we can trust in that type of ability, then I think we're okay. So super excited. We will be back tomorrow. Film breakdown, 1:30. We're going to go deep into it and get into that tape and break it all down. So hopefully we will see you guys there tomorrow. Again, shout out everyone who joined today for our Victory Monday episode. It was a lot of fun. It's good seeing all the peeps in here. Again, Sourdough Squad is absolutely undefeated. Do not mess with the SDS. That rhymed, and I didn't do it on purpose. Don't mess with the SDS, because we come for you. We come for you. Hey, you see who's riding the waves now. Hey, you see who's riding the waves now. The SDS looking great right now. The SDS looking good. I don't know about you, but the SDS squad looks undefeated right about now. So we appreciate you guys, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you.